Well, we're looking at leaving. We're going to look at Canada and Portugal. Those are the two places we're looking. I can't even believe that I have to say this, but I am not going to sit and wait and hope that what we're seeing unfold doesn't actually happen. I'm not. I'm almost 60. What does that give me? Another 25, 30 years? I'm just keeping it real here. I don't want to live it like this. It's just not. No, I don't want to. And so do I want to leave my country? No. But my country kind of disappeared around 2015. And now it's unrecognizable to me. And so we're going to do a little research. We've got our Go stuff packed, all our documentation. We are going to check out Canada first. Probably come back here. Go check out Portugal. Come back here. Maybe Turkey. I'm not sure. It depends. Yeah, I mean, can you, it's like mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. I just had a conversation with my cousin who, I love her. I'm probably closer to her than anyone in my entire family except my sister who's closest to me in age. And she's a Republican. And she has no idea about what's going on. She's not MAGA, but she's part of the GOP, and like she doesn't know. I mentioned a few things to her, and she's like, I mean, it's just, and she is a brilliant woman, but she doesn't know. And it was funny because I started to feel, I was talking to her and I started to feel like I probably sound crazy to her. Like, I bet I sound like I'm making a bigger deal out of things than what they are. So I had to really explain in detail just a small, like, smudgeon of some of the things that are going on, specifically that would impact her personally. Yeah, I don't understand how people are unaware of what's happening, other than where they're getting their news from, if they're even getting news. I know there's a lot of people in the country right now that have just turned off their TV. They just turn off their TV. They don't want to know. That is very dangerous. That's incredibly dangerous, in my humble opinion. So, yeah, we're going to start looking. Crazy times. Crazy frickin' times we're living in.
Hey everyone, JB here. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk about certain groups of Americans leaving the United States if certain events come to pass. And one of the things quite frequently talked about is them coming to Canada. Well, as a lifelong Canadian, a lifelong resident of the US-Canada border area, I would like to give you a list, in no certain order, of why you would find life in Canada confusing. Our national animal is a beaver. Our national game is lacrosse. When it comes to guns, even for a basic rifle or shotgun, they have to be registered, you have to be licensed, you have to go through a government safety course, and there's a long-ass background check. If you want to try and get a handgun or automatic weapon, if you can even get them into the country, there's another tier of licensing, and you can only carry them in certain spots like gun clubs. There's no concept of open carry, and even police officers here don't carry their weapons off duty. Our milk comes in bags, not jugs. Most of the great snacks with kick-ass flavors that you have in the US, we don't have here. For example, really cool Oreo flavors. We measure distance in hours or coffees, not miles. Canadian football is confusing as hell if you've never seen it. We don't have any NFL teams, so most people who are fans root for a team like Buffalo or Green Bay that's close to the border. We have one NBA team, the Raptors, and they're in Toronto, so most Canadians automatically hate them or anything else to do with that city. We don't have any NASCAR races here, but we have what's called the Pinty Series, which is like NASCAR Junior. Judges, police chiefs, and other government officials like that are appointed, not elected. If we have a riot, it's usually because a hockey game has gone bad somehow. Only restaurants have drive-thrus, not pharmacies, banks, or stores, generally. We have 2 official languages, English and French. Our Netflix and our Amazon, for example, are way different from yours. You won't find nearly as many Canadian flags flying out in public as you would in the US with American flags. We spell some of our words differently, like for example, color and labor with a U at the end, even though they sound exactly the same. We call a case of beer a 2-4. It's just what we do. Also, our non-alcoholic beer tastes like your regular beer. Much of Canada is empty, and you could drive for hours without passing another car or going through a town. You can't smoke in any workplace, restaurant, bar, public place, or on public transportation. If we get bumped into, we generally say sorry for it. In many towns, the only thing open 24/7 is the Tim Hortons. We have multiple political parties in power, not just 2. We don't get to see American Super Bowl commercials because Canadian networks substitute them, so we have to watch them on YouTube the next day. You won't see constant ads for pharmaceuticals or lawyers, but you will see some. We know the words to your national anthem, but we're not pushy about it, even though most of you probably don't know the words to O Canada. We don't say anything at all like the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. We're still technically a British domain, and we pledge loyalty to the Crown, and in fact, you'll find a picture of the Queen, now King, in just about every government building in Canada. We have legal abortions, legal cannabis everywhere, legalized same-sex marriage, and legal sex work, and we believe in being a mosaic, not a melting pot. And finally, most of you probably wouldn't just get how goddamn important hockey is here.
And this is our last day in Nashville. And over the weekend we had a goodbye party and say goodbye to all of our friends. And then today is the last day my daughter's gonna see her best friend. And I say goodbye to her parents, and we love them so much. We've become such good friends with them, and it was so unbelievably hard. But they are such special people. They're planning to meet us in Portugal in the spring, and then also we're planning a Disney cruise in 2026, and I am just so grateful that they want to put an effort in to stay close with us. And then my son's best friend, I am like best friends with his mom. I love her so much, and we're planning to meet up, and she's planning to come to California while we're still there. And these people are so special. Like, having people that want to make the effort to stay in our life while we want to do something so crazy is like wild. And they are so supportive, and they're like, you guys are gonna have the best time. This is like something that's so special, and unbelievably supportive. So it is just so lovely to know that I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones I do sure do mean a lot to me, especially as an introvert. I don't let very many people in, and gosh, I'm just bawling my eyes out right now. I'm gonna miss them so much. So much. Oh, this is the hardest part. This is by far the hardest part about this. Other than saying goodbye to these people, I am so freaking excited to get the heck out of here. Anyways, I need to pull myself together because I'm going to the dollar store to get road trip like goodies for my kids, some crayons and stuff like that to keep them occupied, because literally in the middle of the night we're gonna wake the kids up and we're gonna head to grandma's in California, and I cannot wait to get there too. It's such a mixed emotion saying goodbye to Nashville, which I love so much, and then going back to California where I grew up and my like best friends that I've known forever are there. It's just such emotion.
There's so many people leaving the United States of America, and let me tell you why this is so satisfying. Because this woman in particular, I believe, is an extreme liberal, and a lot of people are in crash out mode. And so what they're doing is they're making rash decisions to uproot their children and to talk negatively about the Trump administration and to talk negatively about the United States of America. And then they say that they're going to move abroad. Now, I did see this woman come across my timeline a couple times, and in the previous one, she was saying, can't wait to leave out of the United States of America 90 days. Now it's time to go. Have a good time. You know, I think that a lot of these people are hoping for somebody to say, oh, no, please stay. We want you here. You know, it's going to be a great time. And you know, it's not the same without you. And so you guys need to stay. But what these people do, and this is, you know, it kind of makes me question how they've been able to survive this long outside of being coddled, because how can you be one of those type of people that would uproot your children and to move abroad without having an informed, strong, long-term plan for how this is going to impact not only you, but everybody else? Earlier in my life, I thought that, you know what would it be like to live here or to live there? And then I quickly quelled that. And one of the reasons that I quelled it is because I've always taken into consideration, and I'm not talking about moving abroad, I'm talking about
Americans are finding peace in other countries. Why is it that we are learning to really, really love on ourselves? We are really learning what it feels like to have peace, to have freedom, to really unconditionally show ourselves the self-love that we deserve. Why is it that we have to leave and go outside of America to have access to quality health care, to have access to doctors that actually care about our health? Why is it that we have to leave America to actually get healthier? Why is it? Why is it that we can leave America? No one asks us about our credit. Why is it that we have to leave America to feel safe? Why is it? Why is it that so many Americans are thriving outside of the United States? And we don't have that type of thriving activity inside of the United States. Why is it that we have to leave America to have a sense of peace? Why is that? Can anybody answer me that question? Because inquiring minds want to know. Why is it that we can move outside of America and have a better life? Why is it that we can move outside of America and have the peace that surpasses even our own understanding? Why is that? Why is it that we can leave America and have true freedom and be seen for who we are? Why is it that when we move outside of America, we can be our true, authentic self? We can slow down and really enjoy life, eat great food that's not filled with all this stuff. Why is it? Why is it that we don't prioritize our mental health, but we can do it so easily outside of the United States? Why is it that my children haven't had to experience what it feels like for pow violence to be in their school? Why is it that I have not had to have the conversation with my Black boys about how they need to protect themselves because they are Black boys? Why is it that I haven't had nobody run up in my house and I moved to another country because they say I don't belong in that home? Why is that? Why is it that we can prioritize self-care and love on ourselves first, which in turns makes us love everyone else around us better? Why is that? Why is it that I actually can make it in another country? That I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck? That I actually can save? I can pay off a little bills, little student loans. Why is it that I can actually plan for my family's future, for my children's future, and I can actually breathe? My equilibrium can breathe. Why is that? Why is it that life outside of the United States is so much better?
Hi guys, my name is Olivia and welcome back again to my channel. Some white Americans are suddenly saying they suffer more than Black people. Let's get real, guys. When Black folks were enslaved, lynched, locked out of housing, and brutalized by Jim Crow, white America did call that suffering. Now Trump calls healthcare and workers' protections, and suddenly some white people feel oppressed. That's not racism. That's bad policy. Okay? Legally, there's never been a system in America that oppressed white people for being white. But for Black people, oppression was written into the law for centuries. So if a few years of Trump feels unbearable, imagine 400 years of legalized, racism. That's the difference. If you found this video very helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Please support the channel by subscribing to the channel and drop your thoughts below in the comment section.
Americans are leaving the country. I Googled, I checked a bunch of different sites, and visa applications for European countries are 30 to 80% increase in the last, since November of last year. And Google searches for visa-related questions, queries, all that stuff is up 1,500%. That's a pretty clear sign. It's not just joking anymore. If applications themselves are up, by 30 to 60 to 80 to whatever it is, up, depending on the country, yeah, people are leaving. Ever since this Orange administration started their Project 2025, it's out. We're out.
Genuinely asking because I'm curious. I'm not one to fearmonger, but I am wondering how many of us are researching getting out of the US of A, and what are the things that need to happen in order for it to trigger that reaction? I fear that I will wait until it's too late and everybody's trying to do it at the same time, but I also don't want to live in fear, and I love my life in New York City, and I don't know another language because I had education in the United States and they don't value that. You get 2 years after you're 15 when we all know you're supposed to learn it younger, blah, 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 whatever. I guess I'm just afraid that I'm going to be caught in a situation from which I cannot extricate myself, and that I'm not interested in. I also don't want to be trying to leave when millions of other people are trying to leave. So what's the plan?
Y'all want to know one real reason why America's crashing out like crazy right now? Mediocrity don't hit like it used to, baby. See, once upon a time in America, you could be real mid and still thrive. Mediocre effort, boom, you get a house, car, annual vacation, pension, hell, maybe even a boat. You could clock in, coast through the week, grill on Sundays, and still retire with dignity. But that era is dead and gone, baby. And instead of leveling up or adapting, they're mad, they're bitter, and they're not even blaming the billionaires. They blaming you. They have the audacity to blame me. They blaming immigrants, black people, queer folk, anyone they think is taking something that used to be theirs by default. See, they don't want equality. They want comfort. And when mediocrity no longer gets them that comfort, they start rewriting the rules to rig the game again. It ain't about fairness. It's about preserving the lie. The lie that being average should still be enough for them.
Reason 9,672 for leaving the U.S. I just watched a video of a woman in Milwaukee standing outside of her home, which is completely destroyed from the recent floods. It's shifted off of its foundation. Giving an interview with the news about how insurance denied their claim. They will not have any coverage for this house. So they have a house that they probably have a mortgage on, and they can't live in it. It's condemned. And their insurance company won't pay them anything for it. And she's standing outside of her home giving this interview holding an urn. And in the urn is her deceased child. And she says, how am I going to survive? I'm still paying the medical bills from my son who's dead. This is the United States. This is the United States. What the hell?
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the US spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.